Hey everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for another explainer. Today, we're taking a truly fascinating journey to unpack the massive, deeply rooted world of Indian farming. In explaining this chapter, we're essentially looking at the very lifeblood of a nation. We're going to explore the history, the incredible people working the land, and this amazing intersection where ancient wisdom meets modern science. It's a brilliant story, so let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. We're covering 5 key areas. First, India's agricultural landscape. Then, the faces of farming, the rhythms of rain, ancient wisdom and modern tech, and finally, the future of seeds. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, India's agricultural landscape and the true scale of the harvest. To really wrap our heads around this landscape, it actually helps to remember where the word agriculture comes from in the first place. It's derived from the Latin words agri, meaning field, and culture, meaning to cultivate. But in explaining this chapter, we quickly realize that in India, it is way, way more than just cultivating fields. From the golden wheat fields of Punjab to the emerald paddy fields of Kerala, agriculture encompasses forestry, animal husbandry, and even apiculture, beekeeping. It is literally the foundation of the nation's identity. And to truly grasp the scale of this, just consider this number. 46%. A staggering 46% of India's working population relies entirely on agriculture and allied activities for their livelihood. We're talking about nearly half the workforce of one of the most populated countries on Earth, directly tied to the land, families cultivating the exact same plots for generations. It's just this immense living system of human effort. Now, we just established that agriculture employs nearly half the workforce, right? But here is a massive, kind of surprising contrast. Agriculture and its allied activities account for just over 18% of the country's gross domestic product. That is a huge disparity. And what it does is tell a story of intensive labor and deeply rooted traditions, but it also highlights the economic challenges and the sheer raw effort required to generate value from the soil. I actually want you to take a quick second and connect this to your own life. Think about your most recent meal. Mentally map out the grains, the pulses, the oils, the vegetables. Now, picture the physical geography of India. Where did those items actually grow? Did the spices come from the lush south? Did the wheat come from the northern plains? The food on your plate right now is a direct product of the incredibly diverse climate and geography that makes up the Indian agricultural landscape. And that brings us to Section 2, the faces of farming, where we are shattering some major stereotypes. I want to ask you a direct question, and just be totally honest with yourself for a second. When you hear the word farmer, who pops into your mind's eye? For a lot of people, because of deeply ingrained media tropes and historical biases, they instantly imagine a man. But if you hold on to that image in the context of India, you are missing a massive chunk of the story. What completely flips that stereotype on its head is recent data. In rural areas of India, more than 75% of the people working in the agriculture sector are women. 3/4 of the rural agricultural workforce. This completely changes the narrative of who is actually out there feeding the nation. Let's ground that statistic in reality. Out in the fields, you'll find women performing highly crucial, physically demanding farming operations. Things like transplanting rice seedlings. They aren't just, helping out on the side. Women perform the vast majority of all farming operations. They manage the entire life cycle of the crop, from the very first seed sown all the way to the final harvest. And their work definitely extends well beyond the harvest itself. A major part of the agricultural process managed by women is threshing. Now, threshing is the intensive process of removing the edible grain from the straw or husk, which can be done manually or with a machine. It is incredibly hard labor, and it's a real testament to the fact that women are absolutely the true backbone of rural Indian agriculture. So let's transition now to Section 3, the rhythms of rain, focusing on seasons and monsoons. If the farmers are the backbone, the climate is undoubtedly the heartbeat of Indian agriculture. And that heartbeat is entirely dictated by the monsoons. It's actually incredible to think that way back in the 7th century, the Chinese pilgrim Xuanzang traveled through India and marveled at this. He wrote, "The climate and the quality of the soil being different according to situation, the produce of the land is various in its character." Over 1,000 years ago, people were already struck by how India's immense climatic diversity directly created this unparalleled variety of crops. And this climate strictly dictates the farming calendar. Today, we commonly use Arabic terms for the three main cropping seasons, Kharif, Rabi, and Zaid. But what's super fascinating is that before these were widely used, ancient texts referred to them as Kidara, Haimana, and Greshmeka. The Kharif, or wet crops, depend entirely on the southwest monsoon from June to September. The Rabi, or winter crops, rely on the northeast monsoon or groundwater. And the Zaid crops grow in the dry summer season, which makes them heavily dependent on irrigation. It's a very delicate, highly synchronized seasonal dance.
Moving right along to Section 4, Ancient Wisdom, Modern Tech, and How They Form a Blended Approach.
You see, what makes Indian agriculture so unique isn't just its massive scale. It's the fact that it is a living timeline. You will find highly specific knowledge passed down through ancient texts operating right alongside cutting-edge modern innovations. Take the Vriksha Yurveda by Surapala, for example. It contains literal instructions to sprinkle seeds with milk, rub them with cow dung, and smear them with honey. I know it sounds like a bizarre recipe, but it was actively designed to ensure they sprout. Or the Arthashastra, which details how cereals and beans should be soaked in dew and sun-dried before planting. And then there's Gokrishi, a holistic traditional method of organic farming, where cows provide vital manure for fertilizer and bullocks plow the fields. This isn't just folklore, folks. It's thousands of years of meticulously recorded agronomy.
And advanced agricultural science isn't strictly a modern invention either. Take grafting, for instance. This is a technique that joins one plant with another so they grow as a single plant, allowing you to combine traits like pest resistance or fruit sweetness. The fascinating thing? This exact botanical technique was detailed centuries ago in the ancient text, the Brihat Samhita, and it's still in wide use today.
So on one hand, we have the traditional Gokrishi method, plowing the field using oxen. It's sustainable, deeply traditional, and relies on natural synergy. But on the other hand, you have the exact same essential task being performed by a modern tractor. This perfectly encapsulates the Indian agricultural landscape today. It's a blended approach where deep heritage and heavy machinery exist side by side to get the job done.
Of course, modern interventions have been absolutely vital for survival. The Green Revolution in the 1960s and 70s was a massive turning point. The introduction of mechanization, like those tractors and threshers we've discussed, totally changed the speed of farming. But perhaps more importantly, innovations like sprinkler irrigation, which essentially sprays water like artificial rain, and advanced groundwater utilization allowed farmers to cultivate crops even in areas with historically low rainfall. This brought much-needed stability to the national food supply.
And this brings us to our fifth and final section, the future of seeds, innovation versus tradition.
We've talked about the land, the people, the weather, and the tools. Now let's talk about the literal starting point of all farming. Our source material highlights a really profound transition happening right now at the microscopic level. On one side, you have traditional seeds. These are carefully selected, preserved, passed down through generations, and shared within communities. In some regions, women even carry these seeds as part of the gifts they bring to their marital homes. It's a beautiful piece of cultural heritage. On the other side, we have modern seeds. Now, these are high-yielding varieties that practically guarantee a larger harvest. However, they must be continually purchased from corporations, which creates a cycle of commercial dependency.
Which brings us to a really thought-provoking conclusion. Higher yields to feed our rapidly booming population, or maintaining community seed independence and cultural heritage? What is the true cost of modern agriculture? It's a highly complex balancing act between the very real benefits of the Green Revolution and the preservation of ancestral wisdom. It's a debate that will undoubtedly shape the future of India and, honestly, the world. I really hope this explainer has given you a newfound appreciation for the incredible story of Indian farming and leaves you eager to learn more about the food that ends up on your plate. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today.